Hello, hello. I'm very excited with another beautiful lady here. We're going to talk about food as medicine. So be with us till the end. We're going to have lots of fun today. Renee Andreasen, right? I
Andreasen.
actually had her in my summit for Needs Gap book launch. We had lots of fun and we learned a lot from her. So this time I invited her to be my guest because we didn't have so much time to talk about her story and what she's doing. The interesting point is she was in IT as mine, as my field. And then she decided for some reason to go to health genre. So uh, let me know what you're doing right now. And first, thank you so much for being here again. And I love to know about your story.
Yeah. So would you like to know my story or what I'm doing or all of the above? Is that
Yeah, first you tell me what you're doing and then
right?
your story. Yeah.
Yeah. So good news is I'm redesigning how I'm practicing, which is really exciting. So let me talk about, the tried and true thing that I have been doing, which is helping people overcome symptoms of disease with how that they change their diet. So in particular, if somebody has hypothyroid or fatigue issues, usually it's an autoimmune disease. So I help people find the foods that heal and the foods that harm in their life, in their diet, remove those and remove symptoms, and then reintroduce food in a helpful way. So basically, helping people have their customized, you could call it nutrition plan that aids in healing and gets rid of symptoms and can really turn off autoimmunity, which is really cool, which is what my story is. So help people with eating and mindset to help have a life free from symptoms of autoimmune disease. Yeah. So
Amazing. So your story now.
my story. Well, that's what I did, which is helping to inform what I'm doing next, which is more about mind, body, spirit healing so that we really can realize our full potential in this lifetime. I very deeply have my own experience with that. So I'm building a new program around that using the wisdom of the ancient Hawaiians, in addition to having a strong foundation for health and healing with how we treat our body. Um, so my story is I'm 48 and I'm really proud of this because I feel and I've been told I look like a 30-year-old. And, there were times where I felt and looked like an 80-year-old because of my symptoms that I was having. So, like many women, my story is not super unique. It's, I would say, universal. What is unique is how I've come out of it and changed my life, I'd say, perhaps. But I had been working in corporate America for the majority of my life, getting a great 401k and promotions, feeding my ego, and all of the things that America trains us to do. But I was dying on the inside. I was genuinely falling apart. So I got to a place where I was stuck in bed. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 months. I couldn't feed my kids. I couldn't take care of my, couldn't even visit. I couldn't even hold a conversation with somebody without having to go back to bed. So I was losing my life, really, and I didn't know what to do. And thankfully, I got a good naturopathic doctor to partner with me to really dig into what was going on. And I learned that I had Epstein-Barr virus, recurring mono, parasites, mold and fungus, um, and a whole bunch of trauma. And so there's no real good roadmap for that stuff unless you're really working with an expert who has done it and been through it and helped others heal from it themselves. So I made it up as I went along through following my internal wisdom. And my internal wisdom said, there's something about food here. And I learned about autoimmune paleo from a book. I implemented myself and immediately started feeling better. Yeah, and so so I think this was in my early 40s, so, almost 9 years ago, I started my journey back to physical health, and I started meditating, and that's when I realized the power and the wisdom of, the body and the mind, and how when we become in alignment with whatever our source is, that's when we can transcend to become our best selves. And so that's my story. Is I had to couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't go to work. And once I learned about healing and that I was a healer myself, I realized it's my job to share this wisdom and help others in the world with what I went through myself.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today I was listening to radio. Celine Dion was talking. She was diagnosed with autoimmune disease.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I have to talk to her. Yeah, isn't it amazing? Like, people going through autoimmunity disease and they think that they stuck there forever.
Right.
As we had a summit for 3 days, we talk about autoimmunity and people who reversed their disease and they could manage the chronic pain that they had for years, years, years.
Hmm.
And it's amazing to learn about this science, functional medicine, or nutrition, which is as you said, is a customized nutrition, and how amazing is this transformation can be.
Hmm.
Because as you said, everybody should have customized diet. I
Yeah.
don't believe in diet as general, like what they say, okay, mango is good, you eat it because it has vitamin C, blah, blah, blah. Or you have no idea what kind of food can harm you and
Hmm.
what kind of food is beneficial for you if you don't take action on your functional labs.
Hmm.
And as you see, do you believe in food sensitivity test? Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, you did it, right? So
Oh,
which,
yeah.
yeah, tell me about this and tell
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
let me know which food you've been in red zone, which one
Yeah.
is yellow, and
Red,
yeah.
yellow, green. These are all my tools. I love this. Right. So if I look at my story, which is the method that I learned that I share with my clients, is that so autoimmune paleo. I love it. It's a method to learn about food for your body, but it's all intuitive. Does this work or not? What happens when I eat this thing? And um, that did was I needed an extra layer. So my gut was so wrecked that just doing food reintroductions wasn't elimination and then reintroduction wasn't enough for me. So, do you mind if I share some things? So the gut lining on a normal person, a healthy person that doesn't have issues, and normally everybody who has autoimmune disease has some level of gut health issues and leaky gut. So it's just one of the predecessors for autoimmunity. And so just doing food eliminations and reintroductions was not enough for me. So I went to my doctor. I said, "Hey, doc, can we test this thing? Can we get some data here?" Because I'm a scientist by nature. And so I did appreciate GI Map to start with. It gives you a good sense of what's in your gut.
I'm sorry, GI map, is it free in US? Because that's the problem. When I talk to my
Mm,
patients
okay,
in Canada, there are some of like GI maps, food sensitivity are not covered by OHIP, which is the
right.
insurance, Canadian insurance, and that's why they back off. They don't do it.
Oh, the clients don't wanna invest in, oh my gosh, it's the best investment you could ever do. Like, there's no price you can put on transformation and health. I mean, how much does it cost you to be sick? It's probably more than the test. Without question, if you look at the compound cost of not being able to go to work, being ineffective, having to pay for doctor visits, your time away from work, $300 is nothing compared. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Really,
nothing.
you know what's the problem? I tell you. My daughter had some rash on her body. I
Mhm.
went to a specialist and they said because the rash are not here now, so I can't diagnose anything. That was stupid. I said there should be something, allergy or something. So I went to allergy doctor, and she was like, she was just playing with me. She didn't give me the right answer, even if she does like environmental or with the dust or anything, the different factors they try and nothing they found. And at the end of the day, she said there might be something with immunity and you cannot test it. And that's the most stupid
Mm,
answer I've heard. And I
yeah.
just want to tell our listeners that if your immune function is not responding very well, and seasonally you get some rashes or there are some problem in your body and they are gone, the problem is not going to be solved with pomade or cream. This is not the answer,
Mm,
right?
no, yeah. I mean, I agree with you so much. And it is a shame that traditional doctors are not trained in these things. And it's also a shame that these tests are not covered by traditional insurance. I think if you are at the point where you can't get out of bed or your life is dominated by symptoms of disease, that it's time to invest in your own healing, and you're worth it, right? Because especially if you're a mother, you have if you're not there for them, who will be? And that's what I learned, is that I needed to really go through a self-love journey of just taking care of and paying for myself more than I did my children, which there's so much around this as mothers where we self-sacrifice, but we can't afford to do that anymore. And so I'll just say this is, yes, I paid for independent testing, a lot of money. But the information was so valuable. So GI map is one, and that's kind of like an overall test of how your gut functions. I prefer, and I work with testing for gut health with Biome FX and microbiome labs, because they give you a personalized touch. So GI map, you just kind of get a report. Maybe you call the company. With every time you go through a test with Biome FX and microbiome labs, you have a personalized microbiome expert who works directly with your client's results and gives personalized recommendations along with the general report. So that's my preference of testing for gut health. And then also food sensitivities. There's all sorts of direct to consumer options for that, and I highly believe in them. In America, over here, we have a few ones that you can just order over the internet and they'll give you results. So I highly recommend doing that in addition to food sensitivity eliminations and
I,
reintroduction.
I just want to add something here because the problem is internet, you go and Google it and then you search for your disease. You may be misled to different things,
Right. Yes.
or going to different specialists, it takes forever. Like I had a lot of patients, clients talking to them,
Hmm.
especially for their kids, started a 2 year old, and then uh, even after like 4 years they haven't diagnosed anything, and that's the shame.
Yeah.
So we actually personally recommend you find a good practitioner, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who can lead you
Yes.
to a good direction, because then you can save time, you can save money, and then you exactly know where to go. Especially autoimmunity is a little bit tricky, because usually when you have autoimmune disease, you have celiac, you have lupus, it's a combination of
Yeah.
things. You
Yeah.
may diagnose with something and then go and treat it, and then you find another thing. You can't just stay in cycle forever.
Right.
That's why we emphasize on GI map, because what's happening, we believe in holistic medicine, right? We
Hmm.
believe that everything in the body is kind of related, and the gut is your second brain.
Yeah.
So if your gut is healthy, then you can actually go and find other things or healing opportunity that is connected to your gut. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the analogy that my mentor Andrea Nagayama uses, which is, um, if you think of a tree, there may be one root and there's many branches. And the goal of all of this is to get to the root cause. And doing that without testing or working with a qualified, educated practitioner, you might be able to accomplish this on your own in 10 years, self-educating. So if you have 10 years to spend figuring this out, go for it. But if you want a rocket ship or an airplane to get across the country, that's why you work with a practitioner. You spend it, so I can't advocate it enough. I So one root, many branches. So if the internet or your friends or your community might send you down a bunch of rabbit holes trying to figure out where the leaves on the tree came from. But that's the point, is you getting to the root quickly so you can address that quickly is how you overcome symptoms of disease and get your life back. It's very important.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So let's have like a few second break and come back again.
sure. Thank you.
Please subscribe to Panta Calhoun Transition channel and order my book Needs Gap through Amazon. Simple guide to manage autoimmune disease and chronic pain. Thank you for watching. All right, we are back here. As you see, we already talked about this autoimmunity in my book as well. So we had a lot of others experts like Renee, and she also talked about her solutions in the summit. So if you like it, you can just go and read the book as well. So go back here. Let's start with food as medicine.
Yes.
Yeah. I need a testimonial, or if you have a client story that you help, please
Mm,
let me know, and then we're gonna know what happened to that client, what kind of disease she had, and what you did.
mm-hmm. I think the most common one, I'll just think of my client that I had today. Highly educated woman, very smart, um, and her family. She has a family who has cancer, so there's cancer in the family, and so she's aware of her autoimmunity, and she's aware that it is on the rise, and she intuitively knows that food has a lot to do with her symptoms, because when her joints are starting to ache, she's starting to get foggy brain, and her stress level is going up. And so that's why she sought an autoimmune paleo coach. She's educated enough to know that autoimmunity and food are directly related. So she came to me. A lot of it was for accountability. And then also, she has a busy life. She's taking care of her husband who has cancer, and she's running a school, so she has a lot of people that she takes care of. She knows that she needs help and guidance to get to the answer quickly so she can be her best for these people. And so she had a lot of brain fog, high stress, hypothyroid increasing. So she came to me to work with me on implementing autoimmune paleo, and then also do some of that mind body counseling, which I'll get to in a minute. And so, within, I love this so much. So within 4 weeks, she has dropped 6 pounds. Her pants are fitting again. She's not waking up with aches and pains. Her stress level is going down, and she has clarity of mind to be able to focus on helping her family heal. And so that's just, I think that's a lovely example of how fast it can work once you get on track. She just, a lot of it was accountability. She knew that sugar, wheat, and dairy, something around that was a problem, but it was the dedication to keeping those things out of her diet that she was lacking. And so that, which is the second part about all of this, is sure, food can harm us and it can also help us. It's our patterns and associations with food and eating that keep us doing the things that we know aren't helpful for us. And so, what we do in our calls is we talk about what is the root of that pattern of grabbing the candy bar. And so, we actually talk into where that comes from. And so a lot of this is identifying and being aware of the patterns, but then also having the skill set, the mindfulness, and the techniques to become aware and stop, and then not repeat that pattern or create a new one that is healthier for you. So all of us have a patternistic footprint, a blueprint that we're kind of born with, actually. And then it develops as we go through our life and experience trauma and disease or heartache or whatever. Some of us, we kind of capture what we call stones along the way. So, um, and then and then we must be aware of the stones that we carry and have a way of emptying those stones and refilling our spirit and our mind and our body with light, which is who we are as beings the day we're born. We're just energy and light. So we spend a fair amount of time in each call. We really don't talk about food all that much. We mostly talk about the stones and the patterns and the desire to go back to old ways. So she's becoming free from that. She's going to have a great Christmas that's not foggy headed and stressy, and she really gets to connect with her family members as they're going through a very difficult time.
It's good. That's her first Christmas after years, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
isn't it beautiful? When you help somebody, you feel you are you're helping yourself as well, because
yeah,
it's a great feeling. So, tell me about those food that you remove.
yeah.
Not only sugar and dairy product, because I know this kind of thing we talk about it a lot here. Did
Mhm.
you also look at her cortisol level or her different labs?
Yeah. So not, I think with this client, this particular client, it's not necessary. And thankfully, she's also working with a naturopathic doctor who's got a handle on that. So when I do have clients that aren't paired with a doctor, I do look at labs. Um, and usually, I actually don't have testing like you do to test cortisol, and that's outside my scope. So usually, if somebody has just a basic blood panel, I can look at the blood panel as clues. I'm trained in to figure out what that might be leading to. So there's levels within your blood that kind of indicate whether or not you might have a parasite, you might have a chronic infection. Some of my favorite things to look at are inflammation and cholesterol. You can really learn a lot from that. And I guess I bring this up because um, there, if somebody has the money to do some deeper level of testing and they have good benefits with their coverage, there's less out of pocket costs. And if I'm sorry, let me restate this. If somebody has the ability to pay for additional testing, that is fabulous. If you don't, if it's really a hardship, there's a lot you can learn from your blood panel. And a lot of it has to do with cholesterol and inflammation markers, which are normally they're covered. So cholesterol is a really big indicator. Your lipid panel is a really big indicator of inflammation and perhaps how sugar might be affecting you. People think it has a lot to do with fat, and that is there's so much here. I mean, that
Yeah,
is true,
exactly.
but it's also processed foods and sugar are actually one of the greatest contributors to heart health. It's in your lipid panel. It's not necessarily fat.
I'm gonna add something here.
Yeah, please do. I mean, you're
Yeah, don't know, because the problem with the blood panel, because I do on my clients as well. Uh, the problem is we don't, like, generally in a conventional medicine we don't get the optimal range, and that's the
yeah,
problem,
right.
because usually with
Mm,
this average range everything looks very normal. So
yeah,
you have a lot of pain and then you go there and they say, oh, you don't have any problem. Like, I can read my optimal normal range and my daughter's normal range and optimal range. And when I went to a specialist, they said there's nothing, but I could see she has some zinc deficiency. So that all the symptoms comes from there, you know. So you need to know this optimal range. That's the huge difference, because everything looks normal when you go to, unless you are very sick, already have those symptoms. Like, again, we had somebody, she was pregnant, and she actually showed me all the labs, the conventional labs, and I told her, your blood sugar is high. very high, but
Yes.
it was in the range, right? And the doctor said, no, there is no nothing, no problem, everything is okay.
Right.
And I told her, you have to be careful from know that you are only carrying the baby in early months. You can actually limit something. She didn't listen. She didn't listen, and unfortunately, she had diabetic during the pregnancy, and it was much more difficult to control. So
Mhm.
that's what we're saying. Before you get into that symptom phase, you have to be careful. Go with the optimal range, and that really help.
Mhm.
That really help. Even with the blood test,
Yeah.
you can manage. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I could just give you a for example, is it's so in my training, my mentor, Andrea Nagiyama, she kind of she gave us the cheat sheet for and trained us in the cheat sheet for what is, and these are the terms that I was trained as. There's a pathological level, and that's out of range Western medicine doctor training. But then there's optimal range within all of the numbers. So, doctors, I'm not a doctor, they work in the pathological range, which is definitely suboptimal. But then I'm trained in the functional range. So out if you're not in a pathological red alert state within the numbers, there is a range of acceptability. To say that you're maybe not be on fire yet, but if you keep going this direction, you're definitely going to be on fire. So I help people manage within the range of optimal, and that is through food, diet, lifestyle. And then I know when to refer out to somebody like you for additional testing on cortisol and such and such. I think that's what's beautiful about the healing options we have these days is it's hard for any one of us to be an expert in all things. And that's what I love, the beauty of our community is we can call on each other when we need somebody else's help. So I believe in a team. I don't believe
Exactly. I like that. Yeah.
I don't we all need a team. Like we are athletes in the game of life. And an athlete is on a team, they have a coach, they have a doctor, they have a personal trainer, they've got a massage therapist. Like trust me, my team is big. And we would be having a party here right now in this room. But that's
Yeah,
what
me
we need
too.
a team. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then also the beauty of working with healers is, oh, it's so fun. Is you get the energy of that healer, right? Our wisdom and our energy from our source of inspiration or spirit comes with us. Isn't that so beautiful? And that's not a
It
part of
is.
Western
That
medicine. It's
shows how mind, body, and spirit are
yeah,
connected and is not a myth. It's a science.
it is a science. Yeah,
Because again, I had another book with other contributors called PTSD Compass. We talk about it because we know that all the traumas in your life or the mental problems can actually affect your healing process. So you need to work on those too.
yeah.
So we still have 2 minutes left.
Oh,
Yeah. If you have any exciting freebies or workshop or anything, you can
yeah.
talk about it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I think the most exciting thing that I offer is a free 30 minutes to anybody for anything. Let's just chat. And I like to share um, wisdom to help somebody decide if they're going to work with me or somebody else. But I'm also starting an autoimmune paleo group program in January. It starts on January 15th. I haven't worked out my landing page for that yet. So please email me or reach out to my website and connect with me to be part of either an individual or group program that will start in January to get somebody either back on track with healing or and have better results or just start to have results that you haven't been able to have
So
previously.
because this is podcast as well, so it's healthyinspiredyou.com.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Health,
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, if she's gonna announce everything there as
yeah.
well.
So
And
health
if you want to connect, you can actually go there and
yeah.
connect. Yeah.
And you can reach me on Facebook as well. I have a public profile. My name is Renee Andreasen.
Yeah.
Feel free to message
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I can have you again here. Bye.
Thank you. It's so fun. Thank you.